Hello and welcome to Claret and Blue. My name's Dan Rowlands and I'm joined this afternoon by John Townley on an exciting day, John. Much like fixture release last week, this Thursday it's home kit release. I'll start off by saying I like it when clubs post all their shirts at the same time. Where's the away? Where's the third kit? We've only got the home at the moment, so that's all we're going to talk about. This show is here for us to, it's not really to discuss the kit really and the design or whether we like it and things like that, but it's opened up a few different talking points, hasn't it? A new sponsorship, new badge, and obviously it's a new kit, so we will touch on it. Before we get into all that, John, how are you this afternoon?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thanks. It's getting exciting now. What are we, like maybe a month away from the new season, something like that? Or no, actually a month away till pre-season starts, really.
Yeah,
so
that's 3.5 weeks, I think.
It's a little bit of time left, but yeah, it's all happening really quickly. We've got the fixtures, we've got at least the home kit, and the transfer window's open. So yeah, I think it will roll around really quickly now, and it is very exciting.
My approach here is I'm going to play the same kind of card I did with the fixture videos. That breaking news, Villa play everybody twice. Breaking news, Villa release a home kit that's claret and blue. Like, yeah, what else can they do? What do you think about the kit? Before we get into any details of it, if I have to just ask you first of all, do you like it? Yes or no? How do you assess the kit when you get first glance on your phone when it pops through? What did you think?
I think it's one of those. Whenever you look at a kit, you always have an image in your head of what you want it to look like. In a weird way. So when you see something that isn't that or something that is close to it, you don't. Loads of things kind of run through your head, don't they? But no, I think it's a good idea to go with something a bit more unique rather than just claret and blue sleeves. There's a bit of detail on there, and obviously it bespoke to Villa as well, having the chant as the sound waves as the detail on the kit. So it's definitely unique to Villa, which I think is a big plus.
Yes, the sound wave thing is interesting to me. There's part of that that's a bit like, we're going to do this design and then we'll work out the backstory afterwards. Like, what are we going to label this like stripe design as? But in a world where football kits are kind of thrown out as templates, we could have had a claret and blue version of a Newcastle shirt or a Rangers shirt or a Wolves shirt being produced by Castor. So having that kind of sound wave design of the audio waves of what LA sounds like, the chant is what the kind of paneling is on the front of the shirt, which sounds bizarre, but that, like you said, that is very bespoke. It's very unique. That is only Villa are going to have those specific lines like that. Basically, that's interesting. The images of the players wearing it and the photos and the media that the club will produce, and when we see it on match day in a few weeks' time, they always look better than the mock-ups and stuff that you see online. So my initial reaction when I saw like the gallery on the website of when you can go and buy it was like, yeah, it's okay. Then I saw a video for the Project B6 actually posted it with David Bradley and one of the Harry Potter lads, can't remember his name, and some of the players in it as well. It looks great in there. I actually really like it in some like the official photos. I really like the colours look good, the badge looks good. I'm not massively keen on the sponsor, and we'll get to that in a second. I'm also not massively keen on kind of like the paneling bit on the edge of the arm, the claret bit. I'd prefer that just to be like a blue sleeve. It's also one of those that if Villa go on to be successful this season, let's say we win the FA Cup, in that kit, it's instantly a classic, and in 20 years' time, it's worth a fortune on whatever second-hand website is available in 20 years' time. If we get relegated, which we're not going to, by the way, but if we get relegated in that shirt, it's automatically one of the worst of all time. So my thinking with this is always the meltdown when a new shirt comes out is kind of irrelevant. Give it a couple of weeks, it'll grow on most people, and whatever the club does in terms of on the pitch will determine on how much fans like the kit. So if we win the Conference League and the League Cup this year, that'll be a very well-respected kit in 12 months' time.
I always liked the yellow away shirt from the 15-16 season.
See, I actually hated that shirt regardless of relegation, but relegation secured that to me as one of the worst ever.
I liked it. It was something different. It made it stand out. But yeah, it was like £10 in JD on a sale like the year after, and I thought, do I buy it? No, I can't, because we were...
It's associated with relegation, so
so it does depend. We're literally looking at this kit on pixels once you see it in real life, or once the season starts, when the pre-season starts, even then. That's when you probably get a much better sort of perspective on it. So, but yeah, just from the view of it, yeah, looking forward to see how it looks as the same person. I think that's the key, and then the away shirt, the third shirt as well. So the excitement continues. Yeah,
I'm always more excited for the away kits because you know to an extent what the home shirt's going to be. It's going to be claret and blue. The away shirt could be anything. With the round badge kind of as a homage to 1982, it would feel like a massive own goal to me if the away shirt wasn't white. Obviously, I'm not saying here at all that I know or leaking it or anything. I absolutely don't know. If anyone comes at me as like, he knows what the away kit is, I don't. if I was in charge of what the away kit was this year, it'd be white and the badge would be in the middle like 82. Right, so the club statement then. Inspired by the passion of the pride in the stands at Villa Park, the new 2023 home shirt depicts a subtle print of sound waves taken from fans singing our LA, LA, LA chant on a match day, putting supporters at the heart of this incarnation of the famous Claret and Blue. I like that. And by the way, I'm scrolling up and down on the club website, and every time I see the photo of the players wearing it, I think that's a really nice kit. Let's talk about sponsorship very quickly, because that's the one drawback for me of something that I don't really like. Don't like gambling sponsors, first of all. I'm not talking about the logo designer here of BKA, as much as I don't really think that works on the kit either. The 8 is kind of a yellow orangey colour on the pictures, at least. It might be slightly different in person. That doesn't look quite right to me. The gambling thing, it's a difficult one, isn't it? And I'll come to you in a sec on this, but with gambling sponsorship banned from the 2026-27 Premier League season, and this deal being in place from now till then, it feels a little bit like, let's get one more gambling sponsor in there before we're banned from doing it, because they're very lucrative. Let's have one kind of last hurrah of a gambling sponsor. That's how it feels, and I don't really like that. I think there's better things you could do, and much how I felt in the video we did about season tickets, I would love Villa to be the club that says, let's be different. Let's not do that. Let's avoid gambling sponsors altogether. It's going to be banned in a few years' time anyway, so let's stay away. I'd love to go back to shirts of the era that I'm wearing and stick acorns on there or something like that. I would love us to do something like that again in a different era. But I understand, and I'm not naive enough to think that clubs can do that. Clubs have to be commercially savvy and do the right thing for the club and for FFP and whatnot. So if this company pay Villa a lot of money, that's the way the modern game goes. Unfortunately, I would just like, as a supporter, speaking here, Villa to be better than that and do something a bit different.
Some clubs now loading up sponsorship deals that are worth a hell of a lot of money for things that aren't gambling as well. So it is very difficult for clubs to make that or bridge that gap between revenues, especially when we don't have Champions League football or revenue streams like the big six clubs. And I think Newcastle have now got a new sponsor, which is going to give them a lot of money. So it is difficult. It's a difficult sort of line. So I don't know. It's difficult to go down, but I think the key is that Villa were in that Premier League vote as well for the 2026-27 season, as you say, Dan, for when gambling sponsors will be banned. Villa were also in that vote as well. So it's not as if they're sort of attaching themselves to it forever. So, this is a sponsor that's going to last a couple of years. And it's worth saying as well that they're pledging to help towards local charities and do extra bits as well. Not just that, but with extra with Villa as a club too. So it's not just a sponsor and Villa will get money off it. There's, I think nowadays, even Kazoo, to be fair, I think they've raised thousands of money for charities. So a sponsor works in more than just one way these days, and hopefully BK can, or at least they're pledged to help different causes and foundations or whatever it may be that, working with Villa. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out.
Let's talk about the badge. This is I want to say it's a big talking point. It is and it isn't. Again, from the statement, word for word, the redesigned crest, which pays homage to our European Cup winning heroes of 1982, appears on Villa's playing and training kits this season. The club will continue to use the existing shield design around Villa Park and on digital channels, as well as in other areas. Aston Villa will monitor local, national and global reaction, along with feedback to the use of both the crest and kit moniker as the 2023-24 campaign progresses. That's the wordy club statement. The easier way of saying that is that the round badge is going to be on the new kit and the training wear, and the badge from seasons gone by, I've got it for the video version, a shirt I'm holding up in front of me, the rubberized badge of learner era badge, or whatever you want to call it, that was updated to remove prepared. That badge is still going to be up on the stadium, on social media, match day programme, Sky Sports Premier League table, whatever you want to think of that isn't the shirt. My understanding from the wording of that statement is that badge will still be used. Again, before we get into the nitty gritty, what's your initial reaction to that?
Yeah, so obviously there was a vote, I think it was last June, that the club announced that they were reviewing the identity, I think, of the club moving forward, which I think everyone welcomed, because that is something that I thought needed to be looked at, and the club agree with that now moving forward too. But yeah, I mean, obviously I don't think fans expected it to be a case of just the kits, but here we are. And so basically that, as you say, then the round badge that was voted in is going to be used for the kits and training wear to pay homage to the 82 heroes. And the current badge is going to continue to be used because mainly Villa just want to assess where the land lies moving forward as well. They don't want to rush into a decision that was maybe not made by someone who's just come into the club and then they change other things. Basically, Chris Heck wants to have Villa's identity moving forward being the identity that they want for another 150 years. Obviously, 150 years is just gone in terms of the club's founded. So that's basically the situation. It's not Villa aren't using two badges or anything like that. It's the current badge for the time being, and the round badge is only being used across those kits for the time being. That's going to be reviewed by the club throughout the next season, as you say, continuing to engage with fans and taking stock of local, national and global reaction, which I think is the right move, really. If there's any, and I'm not suggesting there are doubts or whatever, but if there are doubts or if there are any decisions that people in the club feel the need to be made, then that's the right thing to do. I don't think there's any reason to not raise those if they are concerns, not to raise them. So I'm okay with it, really.
I'm aware of how I voiced my opinion here, because it feels a little bit like this statement and the kit was released at just before 2:00. As we're recording this podcast now, it's 3:25, so it's only just happened, really. It feels a little bit like doing a post-match show after a controversial decision and coming on here being kind of wound up and not really knowing the true facts before saying what I think. And we can do some digging into it. We might get more information from the club in the coming weeks and months that will give context to this decision. As of right now, we've got a sentence in the club statement to go off at the moment, so I can only react to the information that we have at hand as things stand. To me, it's confusing is the word, and I think that's the message that I see on social media most. I put a tweet out before we started saying, what do you think about the use of the round badge? And most people seem to think it's just a bit weird. To read between the lines, and here I'm not suggesting anything at all. Christian Perslow was here whilst the changing of the badge was being considered and surveys were being done and whatnot. Christian Perslow is no longer here. Chris Heck is now effectively that role. If the team that are currently at the club don't think the round badge, I'm not saying they think this, if they don't think that the round badge is the right choice, or they don't want to commit to it this season, but could commit to it in 12 months' time, like the statement says, they will monitor feedback. And if the feedback is, we love the round badge, I've got no doubts that they'll stick with it. If they don't think it's the right decision, I also kind of respect the fact of, well, don't rush into it then. Don't spend millions rechanging every single badge that's on the stadium and in the training ground or whatever. If in 12, 18, 24 months' time you go, actually, we don't like the round badge, we're going to change it again, because that looks silly. If this was 6 months prior, when Perslow left and Heck came in, and I'm not just saying this is Perslow's decision or Heck's, there's plenty of people involved, but that's the obvious link, isn't it? One in, one out. The kits are made a long time in advance. I think if the kit wasn't already made with the round badge on, they'd probably just stick with the current shield across everything for the next 12 months before reconsidering. I think it's probably just come at the wrong time that the club has already got the kits made with the round badge on, so have to stick with that. Hello, editing version of me here, just jumping in very quickly. The last bit I just said about the club already having the kits 6 months ago, that's just me speculating. I don't want what I've just said as an opinion to come across as fact, and listening back to that, it feels like what I just said there was fact rather than opinion. Anyway, on with the rest of it. I think it is weird and strange to log on to the BBC Sports website and go to the league table and see the shield, and then be on a match day and see a round badge and think, if you didn't know anything about Villa, you go, well, that's two different clubs. Do you know what I mean? I think it's just a little bit strange, but I kind of respect the fact if people in the business side of the club don't think we're ready to fully launch into a big change, take time. Take stock of where you are, do what we should do with a post-match podcast and take a step back and go, right, let's all just calm down a second, let's reconsider. They'll monitor local, national and global reaction. And like I said, if all of those things go, Villa's new round badge is excellent, I'm pretty sure they'll stick with it. It's a long-winded way of saying it's a bit weird, but I kind of get it.
Yeah, and I actually commend it, to be honest. And I think for a lot of fans, it might come as a, but I expected the round badge to be, used across every platform
and be here for the next 20 years.
Yeah, I can't quite remember what the club statement was, to be fair, when they announced that they were changing the badge or where it would appear, but I would presume that would have been the case. But you're right, Dan, there's been a restructuring of the club. Different people have come in and some people have left. But I mean, as we know, Chris Heck is the president of business operations, which covers commercial aspects as well. He knows how important it is that Villa keep all their sort of global revenue opportunities open, and he'll be very keen to explore all of that in the coming years. So if it is the case that he comes into the club and sees that badge, and he's not an Aston Villa fan, and some people at the club might not be Aston Villa fans, but the point I'm trying to get across is that we view Aston Villa through a different way, if that makes sense. So like a lot of fans will look at the round badge and say, "Oh, that's Aston Villa. That's traditional for us, and that means something." But then someone else who has no link to the club previously, or views it in a different way, which is a good thing, and they might see it as, it was all over Twitter, wasn't it? Oh, why Villa copy Chelsea, from people who weren't necessarily aware of our previous crests or whatever. The audience that would be pitching at, or that are looking at the badge, don't view that as, oh, well, that's Aston Villa's traditional or whatever. They just view it as a badge and a Premier League club, and they don't know anything about them really. So yeah, I commend it. I think if that's the decision that they've taken in terms of taking a holding fire, if you will, then that's okay, because it's a massive decision, and the club's identity and how you market it is huge for, say, the business operations behind everything. So yeah, and especially Chris Heck, he has all of the experience, and
that's his job
in terms of sports marketing as well. Yeah, exactly. And he, at the moment, is a top 6, and he wants Villa to be making up almost like a top half of the Premier League, if that makes sense, and fighting their way towards that, the upper echelons of the division. We all know how difficult it is to break that mould, but the way it's going, there's some clubs that are dropping out of it, some clubs who are coming into it, like Villa, Newcastle, just at different rates. So yeah, if that's a decision that he or other people in the club feel needs to be made, in terms of just holding fire on releasing this round badge to everything that we're doing and putting it everywhere instead of a badge. It's not replacing anything at the moment. The current badge is just going to remain as it is, and the new badge, as I say, will be on the kits, and they'll just view it as it goes along, which again I think is the right decision ultimately.
That'll do us for this video. It's literally just an initial reaction to the shirt, the new sponsor, and this kind of round badge debate. I quite like it. I'm not going to rush out and buy it today, but at some point I'll probably pick it up. I'm keen to see the away shirt, because I always like an away shirt over a home, because it's a chance to be slightly different. So maybe we'll do another video in whenever that one comes out. Or the third shirt could be absolutely lovely. We'll have to wait and see. For everyone watching this on YouTube, head down to the comments down below. Let me know whether you like the new home shirt, whether you're going to go and buy it, and what are your thoughts on the round badge redesign as well. I'll be keen to hear what people think. John, thanks for your time, as ever. I'm off now till Monday, but we'll still be back on the weekend with another video. You and me, John, did our best Premier League 11. We'll see how that goes down. Prepare for some on Monday morning. That video will be coming Saturday morning, so keep an eye on Claret and Blue for that. Thanks everyone for watching this video, and we'll see you Saturday.